I assume I'm... Okay, well, a good morning to everybody in the UK, and a bună ziua, a good day to everybody here in Romania. My name is Colin Lovering, and on behalf of the British Romanian Chamber of Commerce, I'm delighted to introduce our 5th edition of Doing Business in Romania series, in partnership today with our friends from the Chambers of Wales, South East, South West and Mid Wales. I think I've got that correct. The first, we do hope, of many, just to discover the existing collaborations and ongoing opportunities doing business between Wales and Romania. Being a Hereford lad, my heart is fairly close to Wales anyway. So our goal over the next hour is to provide a clear understanding of the opportunities available to everyone's business in Romania and Wales and how they can access new markets, make new connections, etc. If you do have a meeting straight after this, just tell them you might be a little bit late because we've got so much to pack in today. So I'm going to move straight ahead and just ask for a quick welcome from the chairman of the British Romanian Chamber of Commerce, Neil McGregor. Neil, good day to you.
Thank you, Colin, and bore da. Can I say I'm really pleased to be seeing this event. One of the key things that the BRCC has is membership of the global network of the British Chambers of Commerce. And that connects our members in Romania and in the UK and in other places, all of your members in the chambers around the UK, around Wales, and in the other bilateral chambers around the world. So this really is an excellent platform in which to develop a business. We're really pleased to have the support of Bogdan, his colleagues, and in the Embassy in the UK. I wish you all a very successful webinar and conference. I hope you get some good business from this. Please make this the start of your work and collaboration, developing business between Wales and Romania. Thank you very much. Colin, over to you again.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Neil. And moving swiftly on, Diana Stroyer-Matthews, who's the Honorary Consul for Romania in Wales. Diana, a very good day to you.
Good morning, Colin. Thank you for your introduction. Good morning to everyone. Bore da and bună dimineața sau bună ziua. As Colin said, I'm the Honorary Consul of Romania in Wales. I'm an accountant by trade and have lived in Britain for the last 22 years, of which 20 years have been in Wales. I'll go straight to the subject because obviously we haven't got much time. From my perspective, like most countries, the UK economy has been profoundly shaken and reshaped by the COVID-19 pandemic, which has been compounded also by Brexit. Although the route for recovery and growth will be different for every business and sector, it is fair to say that firms in every country must navigate these pandemic-related complexities. Those in the UK must also adapt to the country's new trading relationship with the EU and the additional complexities around imports and exports that this is going to bring. Each will require a combination of strategic foresight and built-in agility. The pandemic has exaggerated and accelerated the digitalization, the e-commerce adoption, and a shift to remote working. Yet it is by no means clear to what extent these shifts will be permanent, nor how deeply they will affect different parts of the economy. Obviously, recovery will not be linear, nor uniform, and the paths of different economic sector and businesses could diverge dramatically. And I believe that in this environment of volatility and uncertainty, the most adaptive businesses with the most comprehensive scenario planning are likely to pull ahead and thrive. Smart companies will embrace the new habits of both their customers and employees to strengthen long-term competitiveness while ramping up innovation and engagement. And obviously, if firms invest now in strategic foresight and can harness the agility of their organizations, they could lead the recovery and foster new prosperity for their stakeholders as well as for their countries, in our case, Wales and Romania. Romania has become a hotspot for global expansion, particularly for businesses looking for a more collaborative approach to economic growth. It's an exciting region with many expansion opportunities. Much of Romania provides attractive culture, a readily available skilled and unskilled workforce. It is also a fertile ground for growth. Starting a company in Romania automatically gives you access to one of the world's biggest business hubs, the EU, with a sophisticated infrastructure, strong legal protections, and a free trade across the EU countries, which obviously Britain now has lost, unfortunately. But to put some numbers into perspective, Romania is of similar size to the UK when it comes to land area, and has a third of the UK population and generates only a 10th of Britain's gross domestic product. So the opportunity for expansion here is massive, and it ranges from sectors like agriculture, heavy industry, infrastructure, technology, just to name a few. In addition, Romania has implemented tax-free trading zones, which companies investing in Romania can benefit from a wide range of incentives to reduce their paperwork and tax implications on raw materials for manufacture, for example. Romania benefits from infrastructure connections by road, rail with Europe, and also having a Russian gauge as well enables exports to that side of the globe. Also by river with Danube connecting to the North Sea via the Rhine-Main Danube Canal, and also directly via the Black Sea to the Orient. There is plenty much more I could say, and our time is limited, and I would like to hand over to Colin. Thank you all for your consideration. I hope to see further trade between our two countries.
Thank you, Diana. And I know we've commented before, you're a perfect example of with the mixture of the Romanian and the Welsh there, with that wonderful Welsh accent as well. So thank you for that. Great pitch for Romania. You mentioned COVID and Brexit. We were 3 minutes in, but it is part of how we're sort of navigating our way through going forward. And to help me do that, I've got this wonderful array, including yourself, Diana, in terms of our panel today. Then after the panel discussion, ladies and gentlemen, there is an opportunity throughout this talk to post any questions that you may have. I have already received a number of questions. That's why I hinted at the beginning we may drift over the hour. So I'm going to swiftly move on to introduce our esteemed panel, and you've already met two of them. So Neil McGregor, Chairman of the BRCC. Neil, get ready, you're on the panel. Diana, thank you very much for your great sales pitch for Romania there. Diana is joining us. And then we have Bogdan Mihalescu, who's the Minister Council of Commercial and Economic Affairs with the Embassy of Romania in the UK. Bogdan, a very, very warm welcome to you. And then we have Professor Liana Cipcigan. I think I've got your name correct, Liana, who's Cardiff University Research Team Leader, Sustainable Transport in School of Engineering. I'm sure the word sustainability is going to pop up once or twice too. And then we have Dave Matthews, who's the Managing Director of Comken, I think. Dave, you will correct me if I'm wrong, Comken Group. And then finally, we have Lydia, no, not finally, penultimately, we have Lydia Bitoir, who's the Northeast Regional Development Agency in Romania. And we've tagged an extra one on the end because right at the end of the seminar, we just want to ask Daniel Kirval. Daniel is the Vice Chairman of the BRCC, but also helping to manage our UK expansion, I guess, for want of another word. And Daniel, and you're going to just share with us some of the great successes that have already been generated so far. So thank you very much to the panel. I think, Bogdan, I'm going to come straight to you because, really, one of the questions is we're talking about Wales and Romania, and Diana's given an illustration of a lot of the benefits to anybody wanting to invest in Romania, and obviously we're looking at vice versa. From your point of view, what are the key synergies or business opportunity between Romania and Wales, and particularly for the Welsh investors that may be watching, for Romania, why pick on Romania as your future opportunities, and why now? Well done. A warm welcome to you.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. I apologize for my voice, as I announced yesterday. I got a bit of COVID, so but I'm quite well. So I think I have just mild symptoms. Thank you for this opportunity. It's a pleasure for me because I took this opportunity. I did a bit more research on Welsh economy, as I'm focusing on the whole UK as my activity at the embassy, and I was surprised to see how many things are in common between Wales and Romania. Business-wise, there are strong industries in both areas, which are similar. For instance, I just had a look on the Trade and Invest website of Wales, and I see that Wales is doing excellent in cybersecurity. Romania is proud to be or consider itself a powerful area in cybersecurity, and there is no wonder that Bucharest will host the European Cybersecurity Research Center. This opens up a lot of opportunities of cooperation between companies, as Romania will slowly become an important hub in this cybersecurity research. If we speak about high value manufacturing, where Wales is doing very well, Romania is doing very well too. We have strong aerospace industry. It's the third or fourth largest industry in Romania, and a lot of investment is coming in this area. We have automotive like Wales do, and automotive is by far the largest industry in Romania. Nearly 20% of Romanian GDP comes from the automotive industry. Power generation, low carbon, the same approach for both countries, big interest. Renewables, it's a very ambitious plan for Romania to extend its renewables, particularly in offshore energy, where I know Wales developed already some projects, as well as nuclear, where, okay, it's a debate about how green nuclear is. However, it's a significant trend to come back to nuclear as a sustainable source of power for future applications. Food and drink, to mention, I know Wales is doing very well in new technologies for food production, and it's running a lot of research and providing a lot of infrastructure for companies to come up with new projects. And I was wondering if Welsh people know that Romania is the fourth largest producer of cereals in the EU. So it's the second largest producer of corn and the fourth largest producer of wheat. This opens up again new opportunities for cooperation. Why not taking the know-how, the knowledge coming from Wales in the research area and develop new products in Romania, where you can have the raw material. Going further, another synergy I consider it's tourism. Wales, it's a very beautiful place, a very beautiful country with 5 areas of outstanding natural beauty. Romania is a very beautiful country too, and I just challenge you to have a look on YouTube. It's a series of with Prince of Wales talking about Romania and their natural beauties, and it's called Wild Carpathians. It worth spending half an hour just having a look on that, and you'll be surprised to find out how beautiful the country is. And it's a potential of cooperation because opening up and finding out opportunities and places to discover, put together these two industries of tourism and opens up new ideas. I don't want to continue too much. In the sports area, we both nations used to be very strong in rugby. I'm sure Daniel will have a point here. Wales is doing very well too. We hope that Romania will come up sooner or later. And to speak about the language, I think both countries are pretty decent in English. So we have all the ingredients to, build up together some partnerships and look for opportunities. And just 2 more minutes or 1 minute, why now? There are many reasons, but I just want to give you a couple of them. It's very important to know that Romania now is preparing to offer a high fiscal incentive for investors, which goes up to 60% of the total value of the investment. It's one of the most competitive financial aids in the EU. So for any investor, worth knowing that an opportunity now, which is now, I'm talking about this year, maybe next year, is to get this support from the Romanian government with up to 60% of the investment. Another investment, it's about supporting the salaries of new job creations, up to 50% of that. Why now again? If Wales represents, I would say, the gate to Europe from the west by sea, Romania represents the gate to the EU by east. So any business dealing with the EU, for instance, logistically, and bringing goods from Asia should consider Romania as a base for their operations, because Romania is a week closer to China, for instance, than Rotterdam or any other Western port. There are many other reasons, but I would need too much time to speak about. I'm happy to get any questions offline for anyone who is interested in more information. Thank you very much, Colin.
Well, I guess we have to thank you, Bogdan, for soldiering through there. So well done for that. I think you just about got away with that comment about Welsh rugby, but we'll see as the seminar continues. But it's interesting. Lydia, I want to come to you on this question, really, and it's really sort of sprung from what Bogdan's talking there about all those, sometimes when he's describing Romania, he could be describing Wales. When he's describing Wales, you could be describing Romania. There's so many synergies. But Lydia, I want to touch on when we look geographically, we see Ireland. There's a lot of prosperity going on in their work with Romania, and they're at the far end, the reaches of the east and west of the EU, for instance. Wales is not very far away from that. How much is culture playing a part in all of this? To add on to what Bogdan says, how can culture play a part in the business, opening the doors and the synergies and understandings, etc.?
You were asking me this question.
I was asking you, Lydia. I know it's a shock, but I'm not.
No. Sorry. So regarding your question, I can say that in the past few years, I think that all the regions in Romania start being more open in making international business. And I think this, let's say that one of the factors that determine this is the fact that we have like 6 consortia in Romania that help companies to make international business, and they change the culture starting from 2015, because this project is an European project. It's called Enterprise Europe Network, and it is an initiative of the European Commission, since it's the largest network supporting enterprises to make international business. And when I say large, I refer to all the Europe, all the member states, and the European Economic Area, including Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Norway, and other third countries from different continents. So we have like 7 years since this consortia make all kinds of actions, support actions, to change the culture of the SMEs in Romania. So it's all the countries covered, and we have like brokerage events where companies from Romania go to different other countries to see how can they start working together. So I think in the past years, the culture was is changed. I mean, if some years ago Romania was, let's say, maybe didn't have so many things to offer, or they didn't know the legislation, or how can they go international. I think that now they have a lot more information, because one of the support actions that this network is doing is to give advice and all the necessary information for a company in Romania to go international, to understand what is the legal way of doing business in another country.
Thank you for that. We'll try and get that balance of business and culture, because being in Romania for 13 years, I've been embedded in Romania culture, and it does have a big difference. But I want to go on to the subject of digitalization, because it was mentioned by Bogdan and everybody in terms of the acceleration. I guess Romania came into the digitalized world at a great time. We've got all our history and habits behind us, and they came in and captured it and really ran with it in a very exceptional way. Dave, I'd like to come to you, if I may, because I know you're actually involved in talent acquisition, looking at the talent in Romania, etc., particularly in some of these areas. So there's two questions for you, if I may, is really about the opportunities, and one or two of the questions that came through from people viewing this was about the opportunities. Let me look just specifically in terms of data center, cloud services, etc. So if you could just touch on that, but also talk about the talent, the opportunities, because I guess anybody moving from Wales to Romania, or Romania to Wales, there's this cultural experience as well. But also, as we're in the digital world online, I guess the same applies. So I think there may be 3 or 4 questions there for you, but I'll let you tackle them. Dave, a warm welcome to you.
Thank you, Colin. Perhaps you can remind me of some of them as we go along. Yeah, I think it's fair to say that I'll cover off the talent acquisition question first, if I may. One of the big things for us, and we've been in Romania now since 2010, and we have an office in the east of the country in a city called Galați. I think for us, it's been a massive success, if I'm honest. We initially went there with some very small ambitions to cover off certain parts of our business that we kind of struggled to fulfill here in the UK. And it's been such a success. We've actually ramped up the office there considerably over the years. Staff turnover is very, very low. We found the skill set of employees that we've managed to recruit there has been fantastic. All educated to master's level, speak multiple languages. Probably we cover pretty much all the main European languages there, and we have Chinese speakers there as well. So for that reason alone, it's been a massive win for us. I think the work ethic as well of the Romanian people is amazing. They're all very hardworking. I can probably count on one hand how many sick days that we've actually had there, even during the pandemic. When we've had to move people back to their homes to work. So we're coming back to the digital adoption there. Most of our staff now work from home. There's very few that they rotate in the office, trying to keep it warm and everything else during the cold winter. But it's been a massive win for us. And just for the talent acquisition alone, we have problems here at the moment. And unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to get my bio across. But I also sit on the board of Careers Wales for Welsh Government as non-executive director there. And we are looking at what's going on, what they're terming now the Great Resignation in the UK. And the talent just isn't there anymore. It probably is there, but there's such a competitive environment for it. Attitudes have changed. So, even for that purpose, I would say Romania is a fantastic place to actually set up shop, if you like, even if it's not as a trading partner, but certainly, to acquire good talent and reliable talent too.
And you mentioned there, Dave, just another question for you on it, really. You mentioned about the retention issue, you know, and I hear that's in the UK. It's the same in Romania. It is that we are saying that a lot of people are going to be shifting around because of Romania's, let's say, superior. There's many other industries where it does have some great successes, but just focusing on the digitalization, I guess the current situation and going forward with hybrid working, is that going to open up more and more opportunities for business between Romania and Wales as a consequence?
Absolutely, Colin. I think it's going to make it so much easier for Welsh companies, if you like, and obviously Romanian companies as well, if they want to do bilaterally, to invest in Romania. Now, I think Bogdan could probably tell you more, but I know that there's a number of British companies are setting up offices in Bucharest, for example. I believe London Stock Exchange have something there. I think there might be somebody online or should be joining us today from that organization, or if not, Bogdan could probably elaborate on that. We're considering making further investment into Romania. I think obviously the measure that Bogdan just mentioned there would actually ease the wheels of those, especially for companies that want to invest in Romania. Digital adoption is fantastic. Romania has fantastic broadband, so it has really, really good infrastructure. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win all around.
Yeah. This is going too well, this news, isn't it? It's like, I guess the question is why we're not doing more already. I think there's approximately 6,000 British registered organizations already in Romania, but I guess through specific industries like in the consultancy area as well. But you mentioned Bogdan. Bogdan, come to you. Then I'm going to come to Diana on this in terms of, anybody watching this like, wow, this sounds great. What do I do? What do I do about it? What is the first step? And I'm going to bring Neil in as well as the end of it as well, because obviously with the British Romanian Chamber of Commerce, we have a great opportunity there to be supporting. But what is how we're in a sales pitch here, Bogdan? What do we say to people?
Is the question for me or for Diana? I was
for you. Just I'm
okay.
not going to ask you to speak for too much because I'm conscious of your throat. But just a quick thing, what people need to do. Then I'm going to come to Diana.
Well, opening up a company in Romania, it's very straightforward. You just need a registered office, and with a lawyer, it's a matter of 2 days, and the cost is insignificant. I mean. The law has been changed. It's like in the UK now. So with a couple of Romanian lei, you can start up a company. But apart from that, I would say that a good starting point would be either to talk to us at the embassy or to British Romanian Chamber of Commerce to decide the routes to market which are appropriate for any company. For instance, for an investment, we can help them and guide them through Invest Romania, which is an entity part of the Ministry of Entrepreneurship, which provides free of charge support service for investors. Or, for instance, we can guide them through to some consulting companies if they need to apply for a state aid. The support I mentioned previously with the state aid. If it's about trade, we can guide them and find business partners. For instance, we have connections with most of the Romanian chambers of commerce. We have connections with associations in Romania, which plays a different role than associations in the UK. Associations in Romania are much more focused on helping on the business side rather than pushing the regulations and shaping the industries. So wherever the business purpose is, we can find a proper way to guide the company. So I would say a good contact point would be our economic section in the embassy or BRCC. We are anyway working together and we identify for any company the best way to approach.
Thank you, Bob. Well, thank you. You're getting through this, my friend. You're getting through this very well. Thank you for that. Neil, I'm going to ask you just to give a quick thing on how the BRCC can support this, and I want to come to Diana then. And really, Diana, I want to talk to you about the demystification of these opportunities and how we can really work on in terms of marketing Romania to our Welsh friends and vice versa. But Neil, just on the BRCC, what is our role in this whole thing?
First, I'd say sanatate to Bogdan. I hope you're soon fully recovered. Bogdan is perhaps the exception because he is a diplomat, and the BRCC are made up of business people. At the moment, most of us are physically located in Romania. We are British, we are Romanian, and we are from some other countries. We're all here doing different kinds of business. So come and talk to us. We've done it. Just on this call, we have Colin, one vice chairman, runs a successful branding and coaching business. Daniel, our other vice chairman, was country manager here for DHL. We have lawyers, we have accountants, we have business advisors, we have people running businesses from multinationals to SMEs, and we also have the voluntary sector represented in the chamber. So we have people who know the problems you will face. There will be problems, and we know how to fix them. That's why come and talk to the chamber. We can help.
Okay. Thank you, Neil. So Diana, let's change it a little bit, because it's something that's sort of popping up into my head. That this all sounds very nice, and the opportunities and how easy it is to set up companies, all of this stuff that we're hearing right now. But how do we overcome that initial skepticism or misunderstanding about trade between the two countries? What is it that we really need to do more of?
I think passing information, and obviously being more open, maybe organize more of these events when people can have a glimpse and exchange information, see the opportunities like Neil just explained. There are all sorts of people from all sorts of industries. They can share their own experience like Dave did. And I think that's going to break the barriers, because at the end of the day, it's people having a knowledge and understanding. And something else I can recommend is actually go and visit Romania. It's a safe country. I tend to organize 1 or 2 trips a year with sometimes Welsh business people, friends of ours who are local and involved in charitable work or all sorts of other work. Obviously, COVID has changed a bit, but definitely a twice a year journey with a group. Help them all to see a different aspect of Romania, the cultural aspect, to get to know the people, the friendliness, the smiling faces, the food, the wonderful beer and everything else, the landscape. People want to go back. People, in the beginning, it was a gentleman's trip, and Dave used to take his friends along, and it turns into couples trip now. We're taking families. They want to go with their wives. They want them to find out about these castles and about the history of the place and see the architecture. And yes, we want more tourists in Romania, but also if Romanians want to find out more about Wales, they are welcome to visit and see for themselves. Obviously, there is the connection with Welsh Chambers. We can put them in touch, and with the British Romanian Chamber of Commerce as well. And I personally think we need to organize more of these meetings, be more transparent and talk more about it. And also, we really need a direct flight from Cardiff to Romania.
Yes,
and
we should be. We'll be pushing our friends on that. Yeah,
exactly. We need to join forces and highlight the requirement and how much benefit would be for both countries to enable an airway.
That's true. That's true. And you'll be surprised statistically how many people come to Romania for a 3-year assignment, let's say, and just don't want to leave the place.
Well, they get the weather. The weather alone is a big attracting factor, but obviously the other benefits that people need to go and see for themselves.
Yeah, Romania is like its wine. You don't realize how wonderful it is until you've had a little sip of it, and you don't realize and vice versa. Vice versa, I think, when you come to Wales, you don't realize how beautiful it is until you get there. Talking about moving to other countries, and Dan Kurbel, and Dan, I want to bring you in. Dan, you're helping to really create things, working alongside people like Bogdan, etc., to really create our presence, and really doing a lot of what we've just been talking about with the showcasing and demystifying Romania and bringing that information back. And Dan, I'd like just to touch on, for the benefits of all the viewers here and all of our members watching this, just a quick snapshot of how things are going in terms of the UK development side.
Yeah, thanks, Colin. Yeah, I think I totally agree with everything Diana has just said. I think, you know, one of the words I'm surprised we haven't heard yet is perception. And I think, you know, one of the big things that we work as a Chamber of Commerce to work through is the perception of what people may think of Romania and what the absolute reality of it is, which is, you know, it's a wonderful place with fantastic people. It's modern. It's vibrant, it's excited, it's all the things that Dave said, you know, as an employer in Romania. And as Neil mentioned, I was in Romania for 8 years and until I moved back to the UK just over a year ago. And there are 8 fabulous years, both personally and professionally. I mean, you know, it is not without its challenges, but frankly, where is, and the growth of our business at DHL was absolutely superb. And I think, you know, as Colin says, you know, I'm another example of someone who came for 3 years, stayed for 4, 5, 6, and then all of a sudden it was 8. And I suppose at some point I had to leave. But after having left Romania, you know, it sounds like a bit of a cliche, you know, Romania didn't really leave me. And I think, like Neil and Colin, you know, we are guys for whom Romania is a home or a second home, and we feel very passionately about promoting the fantastic things that Romania has to offer, you know, both personally and professionally. So upon relocating back to the UK, I'm very excited and was very excited to start embarking on a plan to increase our levels of activity as the Chamber of Commerce, because I think there's just so much opportunity. And even, you know, if our activity is slowly increasing, we started in December together with Bogdan and working very closely and fantastically with the Romanian Embassy in London at the ECR, the Cultural Institute. Next Monday, we're in the House of Commons, again, talking about the same thing, promoting, you know, the good things that we have in Romania and the opportunities to do business. And even in the process of doing that, you know, I can say the office of the Chamber of Commerce is in Bucharest is becoming, if not overwhelmed, but certainly very busy with inquiries from all sorts of people. You know, last night, you know, somebody wanted to export beer or talk about an SME or talk about a plant, you know. So this is exactly, as was said earlier, this is why we exist as the first port of call for anybody wanting to do business in Romania. And we then filter out, assist, consult on where to go and how to make that happen together with all of our partners. We're also, very important to note, we have about 200 members in Romania. We anticipate that we in time will have a similar amount of members in the UK. We're also very active to work with Romanian companies looking to set up and do business in the UK. And I think, you know, we cannot do this all ourselves. And as such, you know, I mentioned the great relationship we have with Bogdan, but also planning some initiatives with GRASP, the group of Romanian professionals in London, together with the League of Romanian Students, together with the British Chambers of Commerce. So we are a network that links into other networks. And as Neil said, you know, that's what our membership is about. It's about becoming a member and using us, but also using our networks for whatever it is that, you know, we can help you with. So, you know, I'll stop there. I can talk for ages about BRCC. As you can see, like all of us, we're all very passionate about Romania. I can't wait to get back there on Thursday to our gala event and AGM. And I look forward to you guys helping and being part of the growth story that is BICC UK. Thanks, Colin.
Thank you, Dan. I'm sorry we're not going to have a chance to get on the golf course when you're over, so you can try and get get revenge on me, but I guess that's never going to happen.
Colin, I just would all I would reply, you're the only person here that's old enough to remember when Romania beat Wales at rugby. It was in 1988 when you were about 45, and the score was 15-9 to Romania in Cardiff. So, you know, yes, rugby, by the way, I'm still the honorary president of a rugby club in Romania in the northeast, which again, to me, reminds me of Wales. It's a very big traditional mining area, big, strong forwards. And again, on Monday, a small coincidence, we're being hosted in the House of Commons by Stephen Kinnock, who's actually MP for Aberavon, so not far from where Dave is. So, yeah, thanks, Colin.
There you go. Well, I'm sure half of Wales will forgive you and Bogdan for the rugby bit, but I guess that just shows the passion of rugby. I'd like to come on because one of the big industries that's very common to both countries, and I think it was touched on, is agriculture. And for those people who've sent in questions, by the way, I'm trying to manage them, not specifically, but generally. But if you have any specific questions, please put them on to the platform. But we had a question from Darren Hughes at Concrete Canvas, and it was really about getting into, he's talking specifically about Romanian irrigation authorities, but I want to spread that out to agriculture and spread that out a little bit more into the environment and sustainability, which again is becoming something that's very prominent and going from a desirable to a must-have in Romania. I'm not sure I'm going to shoot this question at, but maybe Diana, you're just taking a good glass of water there. Maybe you just want to sort of touch on that in terms of the agricultural opportunities, and really specifically for Darren, how can he get in touch with people to talk about that? And then I'll probably switch to Lydia to talk a bit about the environment, because I know that's something that's very close to your heart. So Diana, I hope it's not tweaker. You're not celebrating from yesterday still. It's water, yes? Okay.
It is Romanian water, not just any
good.
water.
Perfect. Well, there you go.
I believe that the best way to do it is to get in touch with either via the British Romanian Chamber of Commerce, who can put them in touch directly to find out exactly what their requirement is. But I suppose, guessing by the name of the company, they want to invest in the infrastructure of irrigation. So I think it's a big requirement and a big need. The temperatures in Romania are increasing. So obviously water is vital for the agriculture. So it's a huge scope for a company as Darren's. So Darren, we welcome you to Romania. Please do join in, go for a visit, have a look, and please invest.
Okay. But I guess just keep you there just for a moment, because when we look at farming in Romania, there are obviously similarities. Farming is farming, and the crops and everything else. But the way that farming goes to market, the incentives and the help that farmers have does differ quite a lot. And I guess maybe bring Bogdan in here as well, is maybe having some better synergies for that, so people can invest. Pick up a model and take it to Romania, pick up a model and take it to Wales, and have more of those sort of synergies between the two countries.
I think Wales has a lot of know-how, and Wales can help Romania develop that aspect. Obviously, they have well-known agriculture as well as animal meat production in Wales, and Romania could do with a lot of know-how that Wales has. But also Romania has the European funding that unfortunately Britain has lost, or is starting to lose now. So I think from a Wales perspective, there is a lot of scope to expand their investments and grasp the opportunities that are in the agricultural land of Romania, as well as the incentives from the European Union. And if Bogdan can add anything to this from your own sources, Bogdan.
Excuse me, could you repeat the question, please?
It was about the investments in agriculture and synergies, and obviously what benefits would be for a Welsh company to invest in Romania and vice versa.
Okay, I'm not really an expert in agriculture. However, I would say because Romania, it's a huge, the agriculture industry in Romania, it's really big. as I mentioned earlier, it's one of the largest producers of cereals in the EU. But not only that, it's one of the largest in wine producing. It's the sixth largest producer in Europe. I think there are a lot of opportunities. For instance, it's a whole program funded by EU funds to modernize the Romanian agriculture. This means infrastructure investments, which means irrigation systems, because we used to have in the past really good irrigation systems, which are gone now. So we will definitely need something new. And I think this is by itself a big opportunity, but there are many others. And I would say even more interesting than this is the research and eventually the transfer, the technological transfer from research to industries, because Romania, it's, I would say, a mature market in terms of agricultural products, and it's also interested for something new, like I see here happening. So if you go to a supermarket in the UK now, you see a lot of new products you never saw 1 year before. Very much focused on healthy food and vegetables and so on. The same, that is the same trend in Romania. And I think this is the opportunity, because we might know that we might not have the same know-how now, but we need the knowledge. And we have we do have the materials and the raw materials and everything else to produce. And this means at the end, an opportunity to approach the local market, which is big. Romania is the second largest country in Southeastern Europe, but it's also a good opportunity to export. For instance, it's a big company in the UK, which is producing samosas in Romania, and they're exporting to the UK. It's just one small example. Why? Because Romania, it's very competitive on that. So you have the good supply, you have the good pricing. I take this opportunity because I forgot to mention earlier, I just had a report from Numbeo, which evaluates the cost of living index by country. And in 2022, I was surprised to see that Romania in Europe, it's on the 37th place out of 42. So it's one of the cheapest countries to live in. And UK, it's on the 15th place. And if you take the worldwide approach, UK, it's on the 27th place, and Romania, it's 102. So this is another good.
Romania.
It's good to live in. It's good to live in Romania. Yes.
But just on that agriculture, very quickly, because our time is pressing against us. I guess from the commercial support as well. So enabling a very traditional agricultural industry in many places. There is huge modernization, but there's still a huge amount of tradition. I guess that expertise coming over from Wales in that commercial knowledge and training, getting more yields out of your crops and everything else. And so I guess anybody watching who can offer that sort of expertise would be welcomed by many Romanian farm owners as well. So thank you very much for that, Bogdan. Very quickly, I just come to Lydia, and I want to come on to NGOs in a moment as well, very briefly. But Lydia, just quickly, I mentioned about sustainability, the environment, zero carbon emissions, etc. That is, as I said, is becoming more and more prominent here. It's still kind of in early days in some industries, but in other industries, it's a necessity. What are the opportunities there between Wales and Romania?
Yes, in our region, environment and energy are one of the sectors with competitive advantages, because we have local units and universities that are making innovative solutions for water, air, circular economy, renewable sources like, as I said, water, wind, solar, biomass, and other renewable sources of energy. So it has a great potential, and I think this situation is not only in our region but on the national level, because we the public sector and the private sector are now working together to find innovative solutions for this let's say environment issues. And yes, as Diana said, I think we have lots of opportunities of financing opportunities because we are still in the EU, and we can access the new financial program. And I know a lot of initiatives that are waiting for the right funding opportunity to develop. But since the Northeast Regional Development Agency is the one who made the strategy for the smart specialization, we mapped all the initiatives so we can offer information about these initiatives. And if there are companies in the UK, in Wales, of course, which want to develop more solutions or to make partnerships agreement with the initiatives here in the region, we can facilitate this dialogue. So
Okay.
I think, Colin, just to add to that, I mean, very well said, Lydia. I mean, we BRCC, we have an agreement signed, don't we, with the Development Agency for the Northeast. So I anticipate that in the coming years, we're going to be increasingly active in, showcasing the wonderful area that is Moldova, my favorite, Bukovina. I spent a lot of time up in Guruhumurali. So it's a wonderful place. And that water that Diana was drinking, I think also originates from up there as well, doesn't it? So Fatradorne. So again, wonderful place. And we look forward to working with you guys, as well on a regional basis.
Actually, we do have nice collaboration with Mori and local contact points, and is to go international, and some of them are from UK.
Cool. That's good. Thank you very much for that. Time is pushing. I've got one. In fact, my good friend Sinclair Stevenson has. I was going to come to a point that Sinclair raised when we were having a lunch the other day about NGOs, and I was put in touch with a wonderful gentleman called Paul, who's Welsh and based in Constanza, doing a wonderful charity for children. So just a really quick question on NGOs. The BRCC has a number of NGOs, and I feel, we mentioned the word tradition and all those other things, those synergy words that bring Wales and Romania together, tradition and families and everything else. NGOs are very crucial, and it's really, I guess, a question of how Paul, who could welcome some help, but how people like Paul can really sort of tap in to the support of NGOs through both countries. And I'm not sure who I'm going to fire this question at, but maybe Neil, you can tackle this one for me.
I'm going to summarize. You're looking for connections with NGOs and businesses. Right.
Yeah. How can NGOs, who tend to be unsung heroes, they're doing a wonderful job, but nobody knows about it, how can we really raise the profile of them and bring more NGOs in from Wales, and maybe look at vice versa as well? Taking Paul's scenario, where he's been here a number of years, and he really could benefit a lot from a bit more vision of what he's doing and a bit more support as a consequence.
Right. So the Chamber is a link between the NGO world and the main businesses. Businesses, or shall we say, properly run businesses, should have some kind of sensible CSR policy. We have good NGOs that are members of the Chamber. They cover a range of activities to improve civil society, and we are ourselves a civil society organization. We have a working group which meets monthly, And at the last event, we had one of the leading Romanian banks, the head of CSR, gave a presentation to NGOs on how to prepare and submit applications for funding and support from this particular bank. That's the kind of thing which can be done to make a positive difference. What more can I say than that?
That's great. Well, you mentioned the word funding, Neil. I'm going to squeeze in something else here. Sinclair again. Thank you, Sinclair. You sort of raised it in the chat there. With maybe this is for you, Bogdana. Sorry, I'm going to attack yours again. Maybe or maybe in terms of European funding. If a company in Wales wants to come into Romania and acquire European funding, A, is that possible? And B, how do they do it?
Yes, thank you for the question. The answer is very simple. Yes, they can access European funds. The first thing they have to do is to open up a company in Romania. So it has to be registered in Romania. Once they do that, they can access funding. Okay, there are many other things to consider, like history of the company, how old the company is, and so on. Sometimes it makes sense to look and buy a company and look for European funding. This is one approach. For research projects, they have to look for Romanian research institutes partners, and they apply together. And for investments, the only condition is to come to Romania and apply for state aid, the Romanian government. So this is not really related directly with European funding. Okay, once again, there is a comprehensive list of conditions, but it's a straightforward process. So they just have to open up a company in Romania, have a certain share capital, and then they can apply for funding. This is not complicated at all. I also wanted to take the opportunity, because it's a lot of interest in Romania for net zero and decarbonization, and also I want to profit of Liana's presence here and give us few thoughts about net zero initiatives in Wales area, because we are really interested and looking to open up partnerships, because we do have our own targets as well.
Thank you very much, Bogdan. I would like to contribute to this discussion in a couple of areas. Also, I will touch net zero as well, but because you mentioned about cybersecurity, I would like to mention about some interesting developments here in Wales. Cardiff University has a great expertise on cybersecurity through the Center for Cyber Security Research and also Airbus Center of Excellence in Cybersecurity Analytics. And in partners with Thales, it is a 1 million project in Blaenau Gwent to establish a campus for testing cybersecurity for connected and autonomous vehicles and also energy infrastructure. So this is part of this discussion of net zero. And also this project with Thales is part of Tech Valleys program. I'm not sure if you are aware about this, because this is a 1 million Tech Valley program founded by Welsh government to see business grow in Blaenau Gwent and the surrounding areas in order to develop this kind of solutions. Basically here we'll be hosting a lot of startups, bigger company, as I said, in order to test these solutions for energy infrastructure and also for autonomous vehicles and cybersecurity. There is another project where we are involved, and this is 5G Wales Unlock project. This is to bring 5G mobile connectivity to support pilots in a rural area, for example, to develop tourism and farming, also in Blaenau Gwent and Monmouthshire. So this is a 5 million grant from the Department for Digital Culture, Media and Sport, and this was matched with other partners in the public and private sector. Also, we have a lot of development in implementing the net zero agenda, because it is important to mention here the role of legislation, policy announcement, the ambitious targets that are set by UK government and then by the Welsh government, regulatory aspects and how these are developed in different regions and countries in UK, and how this political announcement actually is the main driver for the technological advance and diversification of solutions for net zero. Also, it is important to mention in this context the clear air zones. These are implemented in different parts of the country, and this is now what trigger a surge in electric vans development. In terms of Wales, there is an important economy surrounding automotive industry along the value chain. In aerospace, I'm involved in this, in maritime, because I'm working more complex now in decarbonizing of transport through electrification, combining road, rail, aerospace, and maritime in what is called a whole system approach. So basically all of these experiences that are implemented in UK definitively can be translated in opportunities for Romanian companies.
Thank you for that. And Liana, my apologies. I was with most got Lydia and Liana very close together, and I think I was throwing one of your questions at Lydia. And thank you, Bogdan, for recognizing that and saving me. So I really do appreciate it.
No problem, Colin. No problem. Thank you.
That's why I was a little bit confused, because
I
Lydia
know,
and Liana is similar. So
well, you can see the sun shining on my face, so I'm probably going to sunburn after this. But Liana, thank you for finishing so eloquently. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we've run out of time. And do you know what? I think, like a good comedian, always leave the audience wanting more. I think the audience will definitely want to hear more. And I do thank you to Anna and Stefan from the BRCC for making the arrangements along with Diana, etc. Really do appreciate it. I should tell you our upcoming event with the Prahova Chamber on the 1st of February about best practices of 2021. So I guess it's a learning experience for going forward for 2022. But to Neil, Diana, Bogdan, Professor Liana, Dave, Lydia, Daniel, and everybody watching today, let's steal 5 minutes, shall we? Let's steal 5 minutes. I would like to ask each one of you, what's a quick bit of advice for people out there after listening to this seminar? I'm going to go in the order that I've got on my list. So, Mr. Neil McGregor. Neil, quick bit of advice for people out there.
Right. To repeat what's been said, if you're in Wales, come to Romania and have a look. You'll enjoy it. It's a lovely country. The people are very pleasant, and you will get a much better idea of what can be done and the opportunities if you come and meet people here.
Okay, thank you.
See you here soon, hopefully.
Thank you. Diana.
I can only but agree with Neil. Indeed, go and visit Romania, and the same for people in Romania, come and visit Wales. Talk to people. Definitely ask people's own experience of it, and ask us about it too. Let's keep the conversation going.
Can you say it's lovely for us just before we go? No, you don't have to. It's when we do an impression of anybody from Wales, just say it's lovely, beautiful,
gorgeous.
Talking of beautiful things, Bogdan, before you head back to bed, because you should. What's your bit of advice?
Well, I would say what Neil said. Plus, I encourage you all to spend half of hour of your life and just watch on one of those series on YouTube with Prince of Wales. It works, and you will then come to what Neil said. You want to come to Romania.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll invite the maker of that, Charlie, to join us perhaps on the next.
Sure,
the next
absolutely. It's a
program.
good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a great idea. Professor Liana.
Okay, so to unmute myself, it is important to understand the synergies between our countries and also the synergies between regions. There was discussions in the past, I'm aware about Cardiff as a city and Cluj-Napoca as a city. They are very close as a size and as a city. So there was in the past discussions maybe to have close collaboration and synergies, and I hope this will be materialized in the near future.
Thank you very much indeed. Dave?
Quite simple, really. It's pretty much all been said before, but get out there. Don't be afraid. Take those first tentative steps, and I'm sure you won't regret it in the long run.
Okay, and Dave, how was my Welsh accent? Was it very good or no?
Awful, and I'm not going to say anything about Daniel and the rugby, but we might be seeing each other at the end of the month, and I might have a face to say to you in person.
Well, maybe a Chambers Wales versus the BRCC rugby match is in the making, so okay. You can really how you feel. Lydia.
Yes. If you want to see an amazing combination between tradition and innovation, you should come to Romania, because in the past years, we managed to develop a lot of innovative businesses, but still keeping the tradition. So I think if you are curious about this, come to Romania and you will see what this is all about.
Okay, and finally, Daniel, who's going to be very careful with his words, but Dan, the final word from you.
As ever, Colin. I think first one is perception. Look past the perception. That is absolutely massive for me. It isn't what you think it is. It is an easy to do business, modern, vibrant place where people's linguistic skills for a start, as Dave said, will blow your socks off. And I think, you know, the head of Intel telling me he didn't consider that English was a foreign language was borne out today by the fact we've got 2 Romanians speaking with a Welsh accent, which continues to astonish me, absolutely astonishes me. And again, as Liana said, absolutely correctly, synergies. There's so many synergies between the UK and Romania, including, by the way, our quite dark sense of humor, and also between the cities as well. The Cardiff and Cluj one, I think, absolutely works as well. So lots of things that we have in common, Colin. Thanks.
I agree. Well, I think it's sarcasm, Dan. I think the British, we have a kind of gentle, friendly sarcasm, but the Romanians don't mess with their sarcasm. It's much darker and deeper than ours will ever be. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for making my life easier today. We do the questions that were brought forward for those people listening, waiting to hear the answers to them. I think we've covered them all generally, but we will take the specific questions and find a way of getting some answers to you, and hopefully soon announcing our next event. So God bless Wales, God bless Romania. Have a wonderful rest of the week, everybody, and take care, and we'll see you all very soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thanks, Colin. Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.